Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 265 of the Canadian Football Countdown, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network and the Alternative Football Network. It's the, unofficial start of the CFL season because they say the season doesn't start till Labor Day. Labor Day weekend is here. It's the most exciting weekend of the CFL season, and lots of great rivalry games for us to talk about and preview here tonight on the Canadian Football Countdown. Ryan, Adam, and Trey here with you this evening. I'm feeling it's going to be a bit of a fiery one tonight. We've got Adam's here in green, Trey's here in his blue and gold. I'm wearing the neutral colors and the BC Lions hat in the middle. We put me in the middle to try to keep these guys at bay because they are at arm's length because lots of trash talk going around so far this week, and it's only Thursday night at this point in time. We are live thanks to our presenting sponsor, Game Time TV, which you can learn more at gametimetv.ca or facebook.com/gametimetvmb. Send in your comments, send in your questions in the live chat if you are joining us tonight. Adam says ding, ding, ding in the chat. Let the games begin. I'll introduce the rest of the panel, but first want to acknowledge that the Canadian Football Countdown is brought to you from Treaty 1 territory, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples in the homeland of the Métis Nation, as well as from Treaty 4 territory, traditional territory of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and Métis Nation. Now let's bring in a man, first of all, who's almost as good at trash talk as he is herding cattle out of the swamp. It's the great Adam Stewart. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing okay. At least I didn't have to do that today. But, I just wanted to bring this up before we even start. Every time that you guys bring up the Roughriders, I'm going to be saying in exactly what they deserve, the division-leading Saskatchewan Roughriders. Just so you guys remember. I'm sure, Trey, you'll remember that. What place are the Bombers in again? They still in last?
You know what, Ryan? You said that his trash talk was as good as his cow getting skills. His cow getting skills must be ass because his trash talk is ass. I think the Blue Bombers are second. I know it's hard for you guys to count in Saskatchewan. I get it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're a point down. Just one of those fingers that I'm sure you have on your hand there, Adam. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I don't know, man. Screw this guy. I wouldn't invite him. When I signed up for this, I thought, I didn't think there's no possible way they'd have a Rough Rider fan, and then they'd go and do it.
Oh, come on. At least I'm not drinking blue Kool-Aid after drinking the green Kool-Aid.
Trey.
Okay. What self-respecting Bomber fan, Ryan excluded because he's always neutral, I could be on the Rough Riders every week. I'll bet on the Rough Riders every week. I can't this week and next week.
I did. Bomber fan ever bets on the Rough Riders?
I'll fully admit I did the first meeting. I'm pretty sure or maybe I did go on Winnipeg. No, I didn't go on Winnipeg. I just can't. There's just something. It's something in my soul. I can bet on the Rough Riders every week except for when they play the Bombers.
Well, the Riders lost their fifth game this past week, which means Trey's 14-4 prediction ended, and he's done the green Kool-Aid detox, and now it's back to the blue Kool-Aid for Trey for the next couple of weeks.
How does that Winnipeg detox work? Like, do you just go down to 7-Eleven and pound a Slurpee or something?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, seems legit.
If you want to hear these guys argue more than just tonight, check out the Discord for all of the antics, all of the content in between episodes as well. There is a link in the episode description. It's free to join us over there, and lots of fun going on there. CFL talk all season long, game day chats. Adam opened up the game day thread for the Sunday's game on Wednesday already, and it's already up to a bunch of trash talk back and forth between these two. So that's going to be a fun one on Sunday, of course, for every game this Labor Day weekend. And some extra perks in the Discord as well. You can join us for our weekly recap / Discord call-in show every Monday. Mike and I, this Monday, we had a good chat about a number of different things, including the Rouge, the highly contested topic from the past week, player safety, all of that. So go check that out. Also, NFL season starting next week. I'll mention it one last time. We do have a NFL fantasy draft planned for next week. I believe it's on Wednesday next week for us and members of the Discord community. So if you want to join that, hop in the Discord, go to the NFL channel in there. There is a link for a sign-up sheet. Not a sign-up sheet. That would be weird. And maybe Adam knows a thing or two about those. Go to the sign-up sheet. You have until end of day Friday to sign up for a spot in there. And there are still spots available. We'll be drafting next week. And I believe we'll either be live streaming or posting the video of the draft as some bonus content next week. So look forward to that as we pick our NFL teams as well. Speaking of NFL teams, Trey and I actually just finished a draft just before this show with the fellas over from the Alternative Football Network. So shout out to the crew over there, and we're hoping to represent Canada a little bit over in that league.
Well, what letter grade did you get? Because I got that email about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. Any AI letter grade of my drafts because I draft one quarterback, one tight end, and I leave my defense and my kicker till the very end. And they don't like that. But it's usually successful. So yeah, check out the Discord. Links in the episode description to join us there for free. One other housekeeping thing before we move into talking about each of these games is we had a big milestone this week, guys. 30,000 all-time downloads on the audio feeds on Podbean there. So thank you very much to everybody supporting us over the years and helping us to continue to grow the show. Just under a year since we hit 20,000. So, and the video feeds have been growing as well. So super excited to hit numbers like that. Here's to the next 10,000 and all of the fun we'll have in between. And thank you for the support along the way on behalf of the entire CFC crew. All right. Let's get to our first game of the week here. It is a rematch of the week before. It is Touchdown Pacific. I think I got the correct ocean this time, Trey. And it is the Ottawa Redblacks visiting the BC Lions at Touchdown Pacific here. Adam, let's go to you. What storyline are you most intrigued by in this football game?
Well, I think I'm most intrigued by the signing and potential, maybe. Gonna play, won't play, hard to say. Anyways, it's Matthew Betts, waived by the Detroit Lions. 24 hours later is a BC Lion. I'm not getting into the salary cap debate. That's enough online. Everybody's seen that all over the place. We don't need to watch that part. But big signing for the BC Lions. Going to really help a very, very injured linebacking core in that spot. Big for the BC Lions. Will he play this week, though? That'll be the big question. My guess is yes. Ryan, what's your storyline?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
you're still here, Trey. Sorry, I guess I missed you there.
Well, go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Trey.
I got nothing.
I mean, biggest storyline for me is kind of one on each side is Nathan Rourke going to bounce back? Because he played a little bit better last week against Ottawa, but it still didn't look great for one Nathan Rourke since his return to the CFL. And now he's facing the Redblacks again. Sounds like Vernon Adams Jr. is still not healthy and ready to go. But Rick Campbell had interesting comments after last game where he said that once VA is healthy, he will 100% be in the conversation for some sort of role in that offense. So, if Rourke continues to struggle, you're all in with bringing him in, the money spent there, the money spent on bets. You're all in on the Grey Cup this year. You're trying to be at least. I think you got to go with the quarterback that's going to get you the furthest right now. And if that's VA coming off the injury, then maybe you go there. So I don't know if it's a last chance, so to say, for Nathan Rourke, but when you have an MOP quality quarterback as your backup and healthy and ready to go, yeah, the leash might be a little bit shorter in that category. And on the Ottawa side, I'm just most intrigued by that wide receiver core this week because we saw the awful injury to Jalen Acklin. Braylon Addison is out with an injury as well. Nick Mardner stepped up with 2 touchdowns in a huge game, his first big game of his career. Canadian receiver drafted this year last week. So kind of want to see what that depth chart looks like when it comes out on Friday and see who's going to step up in that crew there. They also signed Rasheed Bailey this week to the practice roster. So I don't know if we'll see him in the lineup. But what are you looking forward to in this game, Trey?
Well, I'll say from Ottawa's side, I'm interested to see if they, because I'll be honest, it's kind of surprising for them to think that they're the second best team in the league if you go standings wise, right? And I want to see if they play as that this week. Like you said, Ryan, a few injuries on that offensive side. Is it back to Drew Brown, right? That's who starts. Yeah, back to Drew Brown. Can he continue it? They haven't lost at home, but they're also 2-2 on the road. So I think this is a back-to-back, right? They just played last week, right? So, and they won by a touchdown. And so I'll be interested to see how they come back. I know a couple guys on this show think that back-to-backs are usually split. So it'll be interested to see. And the game being in Victoria, right? That's kind of interesting to see and see how that pans out. Do we want to spend 1 minute on BC's salary, or do we just want to leave it because we all know that it's okay?
I mean, the argument, like, every team should be spending over the cap. It's a soft cap. You pay the fines. You pay the first-round draft pick potentially to go over it if you need to, and especially if you're the BC Lions, because they have that new rule where the two teams that start the most Canadians in the regular season got a bonus pick at the end of round 2. So and BC always is going to be a team that's in that category, I feel like. So you get 2 picks in round 2. You give up your first round pick to try to push for the Grey Cup at home in a messy division where, it's looked doom and gloom recently, but it's anybody's game still. Yeah, you got to do it, right? Any arguments there? I don't think so.
No, I just enjoy people losing their minds about it when it's a clear-cut rule, right? Not every league. I think 3 of the 4 big leagues have soft caps. And you know what I mean? The only one that has a hard cap is the NHL. Outside of that, every league in the world seems to be soft cap or no cap. So I think it's pretty straightforward. I think the way it's been worded as a salary cap is what's got people's minds twisted. And the fine, really, it's a luxury tax. If you change the name to luxury tax, I bet people wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, the first $99,000 is really nothing. And then what's a first-round pick this year for BC Lions as well? Because all they're going to do is Vernon Adams or Nathan Rourke. We know both of them aren't there next year. They're going to trade one of them before the draft, and they're going to get a first-round pick for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, could be good. Yeah, you could. Oh, yeah. And you're going to make all that money back in jerseys of Betts and Rourke. You're going to make all that money back if they have a home playoff game in November. And you're going to make all that money back if they win the Grey Cup.
Yeah,
right?
If they host the West Final, they got their money back and then some with teams.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it even when Rourke signed, right? Like getting 5,000 extra people in the stands was enough to cover his contract for the rest of the year, basically, in terms of ticket sales. So, I don't think that's going to be a problem for BC. You can afford anything in the CFL, basically. Let's get into fantasy players to watch, I think, for this game. And it's an interesting one on the back-to-back. I don't know how you guys are feeling. Are you taking the chance on Rourke? I kind of thought about it last week after, because you're waiting for him to have that breakout moment. On the BC side, I don't know. I'm iffy on everybody right now until they get things back on track. David Mackey's the only one scoring touchdowns for that team right now. If there's one BC player I'd be interested in, it's probably Justin McInnes still, because he still seems to be the favorite target, even with Nathan Rourke. At least he was in the first half. He was shut out in the second half last week, but he's had 15 targets in his last 2 games. On the Ottawa side, there's intrigue. Drew Brown was the number 1 quarterback last week, but he hadn't really he put up 3 touchdowns last week, but only 5 combined in every week before that. So that scares me off a little bit there. Justin Hardy is probably the one name that's a lock for me from Ottawa. He's been so consistent almost every single week. And now you don't have Jalen Acklin, who's been on a rise and pretty consistent lately. You still don't have Khalil Pimpleton. He's out on injured reserve. Braylon Addison is out as well. Like who's Drew Brown throwing the ball to? It's Justin Hardy. It's Dominic Grimes. It's Nick Mardner, potentially on the upswing now. And then I don't know who else. Does Rasheed Bailey get in there? Keaton Bruggeling gets in there for a start, right? Like we're talking about these depth guys in there that could surprise us. Hardy's been consistent even with everybody in the lineup. I think he's got to be a smash play this week against the Lions, who have struggled defensively. What do you guys got in your lineup from this game, Trey?
Right now, I have nothing on the BC Lions side. I have my boy Armstead in running back. He's actually been pretty good for me in a couple of our leagues. I got 28 points 2 weeks ago, 14 last week. Not too bad. And I'm going to take a chance at 5.9 thousand. Put that Ottawa Redblacks defense in there. We've seen a shaky Nathan Rourke, and I wouldn't be too shocked if he threw another pick or two early. I know we just saw this team last week, but you could also argue that the Redblacks saw him last week too, right? And got some game film on him. And let's say, if VA is out, either way, if VA is backing up, VA could throw picks. Whoever is the backup could likely throw picks if Rourke gets the hook. So that's kind of where I am. Oh, yeah, and I said Armstead. Yep. Adam?
I've got the only really one that I have right now is Nathan Rourke, because $9,000. I mean, he's went down $1,000. You can make your rosters a little more flexible by taking him in. I think he's not a bad pick. He's not going to stay this way. He can't. The BC Lions have too much invested in this for this to fail, and I'm sure he'll be fine. It takes a few games to get used from an NFL game to a CFL game, right? You got the waggle, you got the line, the guys are off the line a little bit. It takes some time. So this will be game 3. I think he'll be fine. I think this is the game he finally comes out in. And you know what? It's kind of a specialty game. So that also maybe will take the pressure off Nathan Rourke. It'll be a different kind of game than just a regular game. So the only other player I was really looking at, I was thinking about Armstead for the Redblacks. But then I thought there's another running back that I really want to pick up this week. And he's way cheaper. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that guy. So, the only guy I got right now is BC. I can't pick a defense yet. I'd like to pick Ottawa's, but we'll see what happens here. I always pick my defense last, and I'm kind of working through my roster as we speak.
I think Ottawa's defense is the one I'm leaning towards right now as well. 9 points, I think, tied for first last week against BC. And like I said, David Mackey's the only one that's scored touchdowns lately. And Rourke does have, I think, 4 picks in his 2 games so far. So there could be some room there. I struggle with the thing you mentioned there, Adam, about like saving cap space with Nathan Rourke, and for $9,000, how can you not do it? And I think that's where I've struggled in recent weeks with fantasy, is where I've shined in the past, is finding the diamonds in the rough. But there's so much cap space available this year that it's like you don't really need the cap savings at all.
Yeah.
And that's been a struggle. Let's go on to betting picks for this game. Do you want to give us a recap of where we're at, Trey?
Yeah. Just lost our... Here it is. Last week, the 3 real-life people each went 3-1, while the coin went 4-0. So to whoever was shit-talking us a couple weeks ago, yes, the coin is better than us. But overall, Ryan is 1 win ahead of everybody, and me, Adam, and the coin are all tied at 27-24 and 1, while Ryan is 28-23 and 1 against the spread. Over unders, me and Ryan actually did okay, 3-1. Adam went 2-2 last week. Adam is leading the way though with 28-23 and 1. Ryan and I are still way below 500 on that, so we won't worry about that right now. This game, Saturday night game in Victoria, Nathan Rourke's hometown. So interesting there. He is the -2 favorite. BC Lions, they are coming off a 7-point loss last week, I think, something like that, and over under a 50.5. See, I don't buy into the splitting home and homes and stuff, so I'm going to take Ottawa +2. I think they're actually the better team, surprisingly. And I'm just I just feel like Adam really screwed me over in our little fantasy thing for making me get Nathan Rourke. I think it was a little mind game Adam had to be like, I'm going to get him at Nathan Rourke, and then Nathan Rourke's going to be terrible. So, I'm going to go Ottawa +2, and I'll take the 50.5. I'll go over that, though. It'll be a high-scoring game, kind of like last week. Adam?
I'm like a mutual investor with Nathan Rourke. I wanted you to get the long-term play out of him, not the short-term stuff. Anyways, no, I'm going to go with the BC Lions this week. I think, you know what? I do believe in the home and home kind of thing. It's one of those games that Nathan Rourke is at home. You just said, Trey, he's literally in Victoria. He's at home. He's got his parents there. He's got his family there. He's got his friends. Everybody's playing in a stadium that he's probably thrilled to play in, that he played when he was in high school or in college or any of that. No, maybe not college because he was always in Ohio State, I guess. But nevertheless, I think he played probably a lot of games in Victoria over the years, even just having some fun back in the day. So, you know what? I got to go with the guy that's the hometown kid. So I'll go with the BC Lions, and I will go with the under on this game. Ottawa's defense is good. BC's defense has gotten a whole lot better. So I think that's what I'm going to go with, under and the Lions.
Can I just interject? He was born in Victoria, but he grew up in Oakville, Ontario. So, I mean, I don't think he played many football games in Victoria. And he played
he was throwing the football up in the air.
And he played high school football in Ontario and Alabama, according to Wikipedia. So,
that just made me look extremely stupid. Anyways, thanks, Ryan.
Did you take the over or the under? Because I was
I took the under.
Under, because I was too busy waiting for that. Right?
I'm struggling with which team to pick because I do always pick the back-to-back split, but I do think Ottawa is the better team right now. And even if Rourke gets back on track, does that solve things that the defense is struggling quite a bit? Ottawa is banged up, though, after last week. I will stick with my strategy of picking the split, even though I could very well see this go the other direction. But I am also going to take the under because I think these teams have struggled to put points on the board at times in recent weeks.
Adam, what does the coin say?
The coin is telling us, remember, I just wanted to point out the coin too, just so everyone remembers, it's of the West Division leading Saskatchewan Roughriders. And
never heard of them.
The home team is the Riders, the away team is the Queen. Rest in peace, Queenie. And it is the Queen, so that means it's the away team, Ottawa, for this game. Coins going east.
Like it. Excuse me. Let's look at some FanDuel stuff. Let me see here.
I got one ready if you guys need some time to think. Yeah. I talked him up in fantasy. Give me Justin Hardy. It's the line's at 5.5 on receptions. I thought it was 4.5. Give me 5.5 receptions over that because he has hit that in a handful of games. I think he's really they're going to focus on Justin Hardy this week, so I will take that play this week.
Sure.
I'll go over 60.5 rushing for Raquel Armstead. Yeah, and that's just me kind of double stacking my fantasy picks, which I always like to do.
I'm going to actually go with Ottawa, and I'm going to go with Justin Hardy getting the over on 71.5 yards. There's really not many receivers there in Ottawa, so unless Nick Marnder has a really good game, I really don't know who else is going to get a lot of catches. So, yeah, Hardy in the over.
It's interesting that Dominic Rhymes isn't even on this list when I'm pretty sure he's in the lineup and he's one of the mainstay receivers in that lineup. So also probably don't
a full team. I mean,
yeah, probably don't pick Braylon Addison to go over because he's not playing. So I imagine that will get void regardless. He isn't playing, right? Yeah, he is officially out. Okay, just double checked on that. So. There's our prop bets for this game here, and let's move on to, should we call it the main event? I don't know. Can you call it the Labor Day Classic? It's not on Labor Day. I hear that argument a lot.
Hey guys, just the thought. Do we skip this one right to the end?
We could.
Okay. I think that might be an option.
I'm okay. Let's just go to the Monday ones. I'm good with that.
All right. Yeah, no, we can do that. I will just reorganize everything in my life, but that's fine. Thanks. I try to be prepared for this show. You could have suggested this like 2 days ago, Adam, when you started your draft.
I mean, I instantly lost the debate for the game now because I know which way Ryan's going. But
yeah, it's all about alliances. This is as close to a reality television show as it is a podcast. Okay, well, Monday, hey, Argos and Ticats is a thing. That's happening on Monday. These two teams going head-to-head. I believe they played back-to-back weeks as well. Adam, what you got for storyline since you want to talk about this game so bad?
Oh, just absolutely would love to talk about this one here. I think, you know what, it's going to be still a little bit about Chad Kelly. I mean, obviously, you know that this is his first away game. He's got to go to Hamilton where you know the fans are going to be all over him here. And really, to be honest, we've seen a little bit of a resurgence out of the Hamilton defense. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Chris Jones, still sounds weird to say, but what Chris Jones has drawn up against Chad Kelly here, because he's going to have some weird or exotic game plan to really try to mess with the reigning MOP. But, see how Kelly does with a big crowd that's going to really be raining terror on his offense. This is the big thing for me. Trey?
Fun fact, they don't play back-to-back. Toronto's got Ottawa next week. Hamilton's on the bye. But, yeah, my grandma always taught me, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So I don't really have much to say about Hamilton right now other than Chris Jones looked okay in a black turtleneck. I don't know. I don't really got much to say about Hamilton. I mean, I thought they almost beat Winnipeg last week. I definitely thought they had that game.
They should have.
They really should have. And other than a 19-second left on the clock touchdown, and there wasn't really much penalty crap that I thought that maybe gave Winnipeg the win. But other than that, I don't really. But I was saying I had a feeling about Bull last week, and you know he didn't lose them the game. He didn't win them the game. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to see if I guess I'll say, can Bo do anything this last little bit of the stretch here of the season to get his team in a respectable spot? Because I guess, you know, in theory, they are only 4 games down of a playoff spot, which we've seen worse, right? But we'll go with that.
Yeah, well, they're 4 games down on a playoff spot now, but then they lose to the Argos in this game. Sure. I mean, that puts them even more behind the 8 ball there. Like, the season's dwindling, the Ticats at this point. Like, this is it. It's lights out after this. You've got the bye week coming up. Like, see any changes at this point in time? I mean, I feel like they've started. They tried to pull Bo, but then Taylor Powell got injured, so now Bo's back in. James Butler, I would not be shocked if we don't see on the field the rest of the season. I have no idea why they made the switch they did, but it actually is kind of working out for them because Greg Bell is looking like one of the top running backs in the CFL in the last couple of weeks. So crazy to have James Butler just be a healthy scratch, but that's where we're at currently. I wonder, is Scott Milanovich's job on the line going into the bye week? But, is it too soon for the inevitable Chris Jones takeover? We all know is going to happen at some point.
Does he take the head coaching job for free, too?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's all marketing money for Chris Jones. You know how much he loves to market.
Question for both of you. Does Hamilton eventually just say, you know what, the season's over? Let's bring in Tailua I'm not even trying that last name again. To his brother?
He's on
the roster now.
Oh, he's on the roster? No.
Yeah. I mean, third string.
Yeah, but we all know how. I mean, I don't know. See, this game is interesting to me. I don't know about that. I want to see him just because who doesn't want to see? I'm only just mad he's not a left-handed quarterback. But I mean, I want to see him. But talking about this game, though, oh man, I'm just kind of thinking, like, is it also a potential trap game? Hamilton's hosting a division rival Labor Day weekend. Bo didn't look terrible last week. Kelly, this is still only his second game back. Hamilton's home record isn't much worse than Argo's away record. I don't know. Like, it's really tough. I hate Labor Day because anything could happen. Like, if we're trying to think, I love it as a fan, but trying to think about betting in fantasy, like there's going to be some 4th string receiver that gets 20 touchdowns and, helps win his team because everyone else got hurt. And then watch Montreal doesn't even play this week, but watch every home team lose,
Yeah, home teams are on a good streak. They won all 4 last week, so we'll see what happens. But
31-17 this year.
What's that?
31-17 so far for the home teams.
Oh, yeah? Yeah,
Yep.
It's that home field advantage, right?
I mean, if it was home field advantage, they would be 48-0. So
I don't think that's how football works. I really don't.
that's fine, man.
We got to get that on a t-shirt. I don't think that's how football works.
Yeah.
Man, it's just coincidence, man. Aliens and lizard people coincidences, man. That's all it is.
On the Argos side, the interesting thing for me in recent weeks has been them tightening it up on defense, right? Like we talked about the pass defense always, and over 300 yards a game averaging. They've now brought it down to around 285, sixth best pass defense in the league. So they're a bit on the rise. They've shut it down. They shut down Trevor Harris pretty well last week, which hurt the fantasy team there a little bit. I think the defense has been shoring it up a little better, and I think having Kelly back and the offense being more efficient as a result is also going to swing things back in the other direction here for the Argos as well. Last week's numbers for Kelly, 322 yards, 0 touchdowns and interception, only 11 yards on the ground. It didn't look fantastic, right? Like there was definitely the rust there, a lot less than there was on Nathan Rourke. So what does game 2 look like for Chad Kelly? And that really is the question coming into this game. And if he is in the form he was in on the field last year, well, then the Argos should win this game. If he struggles, could it be a trap game? Yeah, I can see the argument for that. But how many games in a row are we going to call the Ticats a trap game, right? Like we called it last week against Winnipeg, it was a trap game. We called it this week against the Argos.
Spread-wise, it was. So, I mean, like, it was right. Spread-wise, it was, and it was 19 seconds away from being one. So, I mean, I'm going to keep calling Hamilton a trap game until they win one, Ryan, and no one's going to stop me.
I told you I was going to get that pick wrong last week, no matter which way I went, and sure enough, I did. All right, let's get into fantasy for this game here. As much as I don't necessarily agree with the decision bringing back into the league, I have to say Chad Kelly is probably my number one fantasy quarterback consideration for this week. I thought, he threw it good. He didn't put up the points necessarily last week, but over 300 passing yards for him. The Ticats defense. Is Chris Jones going to shut it down? Well, sure he did against Zach Collaros last week, but kind of everybody has, and we didn't see Chris Jones' defenses shut things down very much in Edmonton. So I do think Chad Kelly, especially with some of his rushing ability, is a top fantasy player of the week. Kadeem Carey continues to be pretty solid. He actually had one of his worst weeks of the year last week against the Riders. The Riders defense, I guess, has shored up that problem they had against Javon Leake and the Elks and shut down the running game again. But, you can normally get a pretty good rushing game going against the Ticats, and I think Kadeem Carey is going to be actively involved in there. Still no idea which Argos receiver to take, though. Tavares Daniels, Devontae Coxey are kind of the two you lean towards, but even then, Chad Kelly spread the ball around quite a bit last year. I'll take a bit of a break here before giving you some Ticats picks and throw it over to you guys for who you've got from both sides in this game. Adam, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking at it here now, and I figured out how much money I've got left over. And, I'm going to take Chad Kelly, too, because of those reasons you just said. They're not very good against the quarterback, no matter what it is for Hamilton, whether it's passing or the quarterback taking off and running. So give me Kelly. I'm going to take also Kadeem Carey for the exact same reasons you just said. Can run the ball, can do a lot of things, and has been very consistent this year. I think he's, number 2, number 3 running back in the league. Definitely worth taking in fantasy this week against the Ticats especially. They couldn't shut down Oliveira last week. They're going to shut down Carey as well. And the other guy I've got is the running back out of Hamilton, Greg Bell. Every week he's been dominant for the first 3 weeks that he's been in. Sounds like, thanks to FM fan, James Butler had dental work done. So, yeah, sucks for him. But
I'm not going to believe any reason that you tell me at this point in time of why James Butler is out of the lineup. Because first it was, he had a head injury. Just kidding. He's a healthy scratch. He's a little banged up. Well, he's a healthy scratch. Like, I guess is wisdom tooth surgery not considered enough of an injury to show up on the injury report as anything but healthy scratch? Like, Next, you're going to tell me you got stuck in traffic next game.
Head injury, dental work. I mean, it is in his head that he got the wisdom teeth pulled, unless he got it from somewhere else, and that would really hurt.
That's true. This is true.
But I mean, I don't know. It seems like they just moved on for James Butler in a way. Maybe they haven't, but Greg Bell's been great, and so far there's no reason to not take him. So yeah, give me Greg Bell as well. So yeah, I think those are the three I'm going with. Trey, you got anybody else?
No, Chad Kelly. That's my guy right now on quarterback anyway. And then Coxie and Bell. I'll go one thing. Tim White, he's kind of been quiet this year, but I really liked what he did last week. Yep. He kind of seems to have a week here and there, and then he goes quiet and then has a week here and there. So I wonder if he'll be back rivalry weekend, if he'll be back in full force, or will he be kind of quiet again? But that's one guy I'm considering as well.
Yeah, on the Hamilton side, Greg Bell is obviously very tempting. The Argos do shut down the run pretty good, but not last week against the Bombers. He was quiet in the passing game there, but in his two previous games, he had 6 catches and 7 catches in those. So I think Bell has just as much receiving potential as he has rushing potential, and you can't pick the best receiving running back, Walter Fletcher, this week because he's on bye. So if you want that kind of performance, go with Greg Bell, and I think he's still a decent discount there. Of the receivers on the Ticats side, like Shamar Bridges has been so consistent for most of the season, except for the 2 weeks I picked him. So I am a little bit bitter where Bridges had, 9 games this year in the top 10 finishes, and in the 2 weeks I picked him, finished 43rd and 34th among wide receivers, including last week where he only put up 3.2. So I am probably shying away for that reason, but it was just seemingly an off week for him last week against the best passing defense in the CFL. So I think that Bridges is likely primed for a bounce back, especially if Bo's throwing, 30, 40 times a game. That Bridges is going to be on a bounce back this week. And I do like what you said about Tim White. He has been steady for the most part. He's finished in the top 20 at least, or top 15, and then top 10 more so in the last 6 weeks as a wide receiver, including 3 of the last 5 weeks finishing top 10. So Tim White is that kind of guy that you can have some games that can make or break your fantasy week as well in there. I like that as well. Let's make some betting picks.
So I couldn't find the unmute button. Hamilton, the +5. Home underdog. Guess home field advantage does not matter in the donut box. 52.5 is the over-under. I talked about this potentially being a trap game, but that was just me talking shenanigans. Of course, Toronto's going to win by 5 points. They're going to win by double-digit points probably. So give me the Argos -5. But I'll still take the under because it'll probably be 25-10. So that's what I'll do. Ryan, let's go with you first here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Argos -5 on this one. I don't see this one as a trap game. I feel like the Argos always have the Ticats number on Labor Day, it seems, and this is going to be another case of that. And I'm going to take the over on it because I think with Kelly back, the Argos offense will put up some points on the board. He'll get into a bit more of a rhythm this week, and I think that Hamilton's shown the capability offensively to put points up in garbage time at least. That'll help push this to the over. Adam.
Well, I can't argue with you guys on those points. I think Chad Kelly had a good game last week. I think he's going to have another good game this week. Greg Bell, I don't know about again. He should have a good game. I took him in fantasy because I think he will, but there's really not a lot of other targets other than Tim White. And, of course, they've been trying to get Shamar Bridges to go as much as they can in Hamilton, but geez, that Toronto defense has been pretty good so far this season. So I'll go with the Argonauts, -5. And for over-under, I think this is going to be a shootout for some reason. I think that Kelly's going to be dominating, and I think that Bo Levi Mitchell's going to want to show up the young gun. I think this could be a gun show. So I'll go with the over on this one here. The coin is going to go with, it's going with the away team again, the Toronto Argonauts. Take this one over to the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Donut Bowl.
You know what? Can I change mine to over? You guys made good points. I'm going to change mine to over. We haven't moved on to the next game yet, so the ink is still wet. make a good point. And then at least if we're wrong, we're all wrong. This week.
I just don't want to lose any space to me, eh?
Oh, you made good points because I was actually pretty impressed with Bo last week against Winnipeg, and we're all going to talk about Ryan's number one defense in the league. If Bo looked okay against the number one defense or passing defense in the league, I mean, what's he going to do against Toronto? That's still up there, but not number one, right? Some player bets here. Let me see. Does anyone have anything up already? Or
I like either of the Argos receiving yards. Like Tavares Daniels over 41.5. Like that's a pretty low total. And we've seen with Kelly at quarterback, Daniels put up games of massive totals here and there. He seems to be hit and miss, more of a game on, game off type of guy. And I think this could be a one back in the right category. He got 10 targets from Kelly last week, only caught 4 of them. But I think I would lean that one or the Coxie over 62, or Coxie, I think it is, over 62.5. But I'll lock in Tavares Daniels over 41.5 is my pick.
I'm actually going to go with, looking at the Argonauts, Chad Kelly. I think I'm going to go with the over 290.5 yards. I've been thinking this game is going to be a gun show, so probably both quarterbacks are going to get over 290, I guess, because Bo Levi's 285. So I'd probably go with either one of them on the over. Trick?
Well, you kind of took what I was leaning towards because I was going to go a little QB over parlay, take both of them over their yards at plus 211. So that would be Kelly over 290.5 and Bo over, what did you say, 285.5? And that was, plus 210. So a nice little same game parlay. And then let's for fun. We just throw Argos to win the game. That goes up to 350 plus 350. That's not a bad parlay. Actually, nice little. Apparently we can't bet the farm on the Roughriders, Adam, but it's a little, that may be more your speed kind of bet.
Hey, that's the cardinal rule. I'm not breaking the cardinal rule about betting the farm.
I don't remember signing off on that. That's the betting activity.
I'm pretty certain Ryan said that at the beginning of this beginning of every season.
Now we listen to Ryan. Now we listen to Ryan. Not when he wants the show under an hour and 15. But anyway, let's get to the next game.
Yeah. Before we move on from this game, though, I will mention, because we've been wrong on a couple of depth chart things the last couple of weeks, would not surprise me one bit if we talk all about Greg Bell and then James Butler's starting running back one of these weeks, right? Like, it just seems like the type of thing. Honestly, I don't know what Scott Milanovic is doing anymore, so wait for the depth chart really out in Hamilton, because you never know what he's going to do next.
Do we even know if Scott Milanovic will even start this game? It might be Chris Jones.
Fair.
Comes out of the tunnel. Just what an entrance from Chris Jones in the turtleneck. I love it.
Ultimate heel move. I love it.
All right. Well, Adam, let me know if it's safe to move to this game next or if you want to switch it up again. But let's go to the Battle of Alberta on this one, the second Monday game, and then we'll come back to the Sunday game. True Labor Day Classic here, Battle of Alberta at Edmonton, visiting Calgary. Calgary coming off the bye. Edmonton looked pretty good against Montreal, I thought, for the most part, but let it slip there at the end. Let's go. Who wants to go first here? Who's got storylines?
Or just both munching on chips, not listening.
I know.
What flavors we got tonight?
I just got round Tostitos, but I got the Doritos Cool Ranch dip with it.
Oh,
I got Miss Vicky's sour cream herb and onion.
I like it.
Shout out if you
and
want.
Ryan's munching on the professional of not eating during a bloody podcast.
We did get a comment about that this week, not going to lie, so it's all good.
Anyway, I'll talk. I don't really have a storyline, but Edmonton's looked so much better over the last couple of weeks that I'm actually surprised. +3 is that I guess they're saying this is a coin flip game on a neutral site, right? Because they usually give 3 points to the home team betting wise. So I don't know. Like, do we view this game as a coin flip if it was a neutral site game? Does Edmonton improve that much?
I think so. Yeah.
But what's been the thing for Edmonton to improve? I mean, we all said it was Trey Ford at first, and he went out. McCall Bethel Thompson came back in. looked perfect. I mean, yes, they lost against Montreal, but overall, I mean, they've looked like a completely different team. Yet, I don't think a whole lot's really changed for Edmonton, has it? Besides, Chris Jones.
Oh, it's the run game, right? It's changed everything for them. You go back to early this season, or just to backtrack, like Javon Leake came in, they really didn't run much with Kevin Brown. It wasn't going. Trey Ford came in, Javon Leake came in, opened up the run game like crazy for them. And Justin Rankin came in as the backup. That also helped a ton. Javon Leake was injured this past week. We all thought Justin Rankin was going to get the start. No, Kevin Brown comes back into the starting lineup. In every game before this last one against Montreal, the highest rushing total for Kevin Brown on the year was 11 carries for 50 yards. And against the Montreal Alouettes, he rushed 16 times for 105. So I would say it's the offensive line play, honestly. I think one of the Elks offensive linemen had the highest PFF grade this top week among the O-line. So they've been well improved for us earlier this season, and it's allowed even McLeod Bethel-Thompson, as immobile as he is at times, to be successful in that category. And regardless of which of the three running backs it is, they're producing, and they're the highest scoring offense in the CFL.
I see it.
That makes sense. I mean, you're right. I think that run game has really changed everything for Edmonton. It's opened up receivers finally. So kudos to their offensive line. I've been a very big critic of the Edmonton Elks offensive line for a very long time because they are usually pretty awful, to be nice. Like I said, they have improved, and hopefully they just keep improving from here. Yeah. On the Calgary side of the football, I mean, took a bye week last week. They're one of those teams that you really don't want to, like, you got nothing to say about them. They're really not a team that's really fun. Like, they're not a flashy, over-the-top team, or things happen to that team. You never hear about Calgary right now. That's scary because you know that this team is sitting in the backfield just not wanting to be talked about. And that's probably Dave Dickinson's MO, right?
Yeah, no, I can see that. And like I said, all their wins have come at home, which I guess has contributed to that made-up stat you guys had about home field advantage earlier. And I guess all five of their 6 losses have come on the road. But that's very interesting. Yeah, you're like, it's weird to think they're, with the one game less played, they're half point down of first, or I guess a full point down. You know what I mean? Or a second, and they're only a full point down of first game-wise anyway, right? Not point-wise, sorry, game-wise. So it's very interesting. Like a win, I was just thinking about it from the Edmonton side. If you want pure chaos, have Edmonton win both games. Saskatchewan, Winnipeg split. BC loses one or wins one. All these teams are pretty much tied at 6 wins or 5 wins. That would be pretty crazy to think about going into the last 9 weeks of the season. But then Calgary also has a chance too. Are they just that much better than Edmonton? Are they better than Edmonton and they win 2? And like I said, next thing you know, they're first in the West if every other team seems to split.
Yeah, I mean, the only real team right now is the team that's stacking up that probably has the most interdivision losses right now is the BC Lions, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're the only team to have played so many division games. They've played 8, while most other teams have played 4 or less.
Yeah, and they've lost the season series now to both Winnipeg and Edmonton. Edmonton on a tiebreaker points-wise there. So, yeah, that's a bit of a hole for the Lions there. Calgary is that team that continues to be, I don't know what my focus point for them is. I think it's figuring out what that focus point is. That's something Mike and I talked about on the recap show 2 weeks ago with Calgary is I don't see the offensive vision for the Stampeders right now. I really don't. I don't know what's going to happen at running back this week on the depth chart. Is it going to be Kylan Hill? Is it going to be Peyton Logan as your starter? Are we going to bring a healthy, supposedly Jamal Morrow back in for a third tryout? Because he cleared his doctor's appointment this week for their after the third or fourth try. And they've already tried to bring him in twice in the past. Is Dedrick Mills going to come back to the team at some point? And then Calgary just has so many receivers that they utilize in a game. And I almost feel like that's a negative at some point where you have talents like Reggie Bagleton that some games you'll feed, and then sometimes Bagleton's getting 3 catches, and you need to give him more. Like he can dominate that offense if he's given the opportunities to do so. So I do think spreading the ball around is good to an extent, but can be detrimental to the success of your offense at some point in time. And now they added another name into that mix because they signed Chandler Worthy this week. So maybe he'll just fill in on returns, but that's another wide receiver. Calgary always seems to use the depth guys there. So I don't like it. This offense just feels meh.
And yet the guy that's the steady in the whole thing, Jake Maier. We thought this guy was probably going to get replaced in week 4, week 5 with Matthew Schultz. I mean, he's the only guy that's kind of consistently sticking around.
Yeah, and he's second in passing yards with a game less played for team games at least. You know what I mean? I know a lot of guys have missed with injury, and the only guy he's losing to is the guy he replaced in Calgary.
Yes,
that got benched. So you know what I mean. So no, I'll definitely say I'll eat my words on Jake Maier. He's very much impressed me this year.
Yeah, he's been steady. His biggest thing in the last 2 years, he's been one of the few quarterbacks that hasn't missed time yet due to injury, right? Like he's managing to stay healthy, and if you can stay healthy and produce solid, not over the top flashy games necessarily, you're going to finish near the top of the league in passing yards given the nature of this league. So kudos to Jake Maier, though, for kind of quieting the storm a little bit. And maybe the injury to Schultz has helped with that. Like Schultz hasn't been on the roster in a long time. So there hasn't been that argument because you're not going to, as much as we love touchdown Tommy, you're not going to throw him in a quarterback controversy for Jake Maier. You just can't.
Oh, come on. I mean, Winnipeg does it all the time with their running back. I mean, quarterback or whatever you call him.
Yeah, well, that's different. It works with their game plan. So, to some extent.
Does it really?
It did that one game earlier this year. Yeah. That's all they need him for, right? Is those random starts here and there. Long term, though, yeah. If that was their plan, long term, screwed. Even more than they are right now. But that's a topic for another segment of this show. Let's get into fantasy players for this game. Looking at the Calgary side, again, still trying to figure out the vision for Calgary. I do like Reggie Bagleton as a potential play, and I have him in the first iteration of my lineup right now, just because I do really think they need to focus on him. And he has had 3 of his last 5 games with 9 or more targets. Also has finished as a top 4 receiver in 3 of his last 5 games. Finishes as a wide receiver 11 before the bye week. So he's produced pretty steadily. Nothing really massive performances, but steady from Bagleton, even if he gets a couple of targets here. But I understand if people don't want to go that direction because it's frustrating when you see 9 different receivers catching the ball for the Stamps. There as well. On the Edmonton side, the news is that Trey Ford is likely going to dress this week, but unclear what capacity yet because McLeod Bethel-Thompson has strung together a couple of wins in a row, and then the loss to Montreal, unfortunately. But if Trey Ford is the starter, he would probably be my fantasy quarterback of the week. I think I would consider shifting away from Kelly to go with Trey Ford because I do believe he is just a fantastic fantasy option when he's in. If it's McLeod Bethel-Thompson, though, not interested in that necessarily. It's Ford's rushing ability for me. Consider either, whichever Edmonton running back is starting, I think is fair to say, throw in there, check the depth chart and consider that. And then Edmonton receiver-wise, Curly Gittins Jr. has been the wide receiver 10 in 3 consecutive weeks as one of McLeod Bethel-Thompson's favorite targets. So that would be the most intriguing Edmonton receiver to me right now. What do you guys got, Trey?
I've kind of been back and forth. If I can fit him in, I like Gittins. I just can't quite. This is probably the first week of a long time I actually have to worry about the salary cap. Unfortunately, you can't just pay a luxury tax on fantasy. But other than that, I kind of want to stay away from this game just because, like we said, both teams are kind of question marks everywhere. We don't know about Calgary. They're kind of meh. And is Edmonton for real, or are they exactly who we think they are, Adam?
I've got Reggie Bagleton, I think for the same reasons you do. And the reason I've got him is Labor Day. Traditionally, he does have some big catches, and I've seen that a few years now trending in this Labor Day game. So, yeah, I'm going to take Bagleton.
All right. What's the line at this week on this game? Let's get into betting.
Like I said, Calgary is -3. You get those 3 valuable points for being the home team, but they are doing pretty good at McMahon, 4-1, like I said, winless on the road though, which will be fun to talk about next weekend. 50.5 is the over/under. Give me the Elks +3 on this one. I think this game's a lot close. I think this one's gonna be close. This is one of those ones where I could see it being a tie game and the clock's coming down, and Rene Paredes is going to knock in a game-winning field goal, and then we get the push regardless of which side we're on. I think that might be one reason why the line is where it is too. Yeah, give me that. And all I'm hoping for is Edmonton's got a couple-point lead when Paredes makes that kick, so it's only a 1-point game at the end. And I'll take let's go over. Let's go for some Labor Day madness, and teams are going to just run up the scores and fantasy points all week. So give me Edmonton and over 50.5. Ryan?
I'm going to stick with, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they've remained. What are they, perfect at home still, or did they lose one at home?
4-1.
4-1. Okay, they lost one at home. But I'm going to stick with Calgary for some reason being a lot better at home. I agree with what you were saying. I think this is going to come down to maybe a last-minute field goal or two. So I'm going to give the Stamps as high as I am on the Elks. I think they win this one, and maybe the Elks take the one next week. So I'm going to go with Calgary on this one. Over under 50.5. Give me the under on that. I don't know. I feel like we've had a lot of low-scoring games lately, so I'm going to go with the under.
Adam?
I want to go with Trey, and I want to go with the chaos vote and have the Edmonton Elks win this game so bad. Just to go and watch every team in the league pretty much in the West be tied up at the end of this week, and it would be hilarious.
This is your last chance.
But I don't think it's going to happen because of that winning streak.
I was going to say, this is the last chance we have to agree with each other, man. And then it's going to be 20 minutes.
I can't do it, man. I wanted to, but you know what? I'm going to go with the Calgary Stampeders. Paredes again. You're right. It's kind of going to be a field goal right at the last minute and walk off, and Calgary's going to win their 6th game in a row at McMahon. I mean, I could see why they don't want to get rid of that.
They lost one last time, but
okay. So 5th win, I guess maybe. But I can see why they don't want to get rid of that stadium. They always win in it. Anyways, yeah, I'll go with Calgary. I'll go with the under on this game. I think it could be a pretty good defensive game, actually. Not sure why, but I just got that feeling. And the coin, in this case, tells me that it will be the Calgary Stampeders winning this game against the Edmonton Elks. Propelling them to first? I don't know. Maybe? Who knows in the West? It's all chaos. Nevertheless.
It sure is. What do we got for props?
Jesus. If I got to be honest, this might be one I would not put any money on in real life, but for the sake of the podcast, let's go. I don't know, man. Very interesting one. Do you guys have anything? I really don't have much on this one.
I have a couple, so I don't know. Adam, you got anything that you want to go for first before I've got some backups, if so.
I mean, I really got nothing on this one either. I like my running back picks, and they don't have any of the running backs chosen on any of these because Calgary, well, we don't know who's going to be in, and Edmonton, pretty much the same thing. We don't know who's going to be in. So I would love to take right now. I would love to take Kevin Brown to run all over the Stampeders, but I can't. So I don't know.
Yeah, the two most intriguing ones to me are Reggie Bagleton over 62.5. He's hit over 90 yards, I think it was, in his last 3 games, including last week on just 4 catches. So whether it's a lot of targets or a big play that you talked about, Reggie Bagleton has potential in this matchup. I like that. On the Edmonton side, I mean, we always talk about the Curly Gittins Jr. bread and butter on the number of receptions potentially, but The one that I like kind of more on the Edmonton side is Tevin Jones over 56.5 yards, because he has hit that in 3 of his 4 games this year. Tevin Jones was also named to the PFF honor roll this week. So top 6 receiver in the CFL. Anybody? Tevin Jones is my preseason pick, making a comeback here down the stretch. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, those are the 2 that would intrigue me the most on this game if you're looking to make a bet on this matchup. Time for the main event.
Can we just real quick? I know we don't got tons of time. 1 minute on Shawn Lemon, because we didn't really talk about him. They're on the bye. Any quick thoughts on him, and then we can get into the main event?
All I could say is good. I mean, you know what? The guy, they upheld the suspension. They did the right thing. I'm not going to go and compare this like I've seen a lot of CFL X things compare this to Kelly. That's a whole different thing. Let's face it, you cannot gamble in your games, plain and simple. It don't matter what league this is. If it was horse racing, you can't bet on horse racing that way, I don't think, right?
No, you're allowed to bet on yourself in horse racing.
But you can't bet on the other guy.
No, you can't bet on the other guy.
That's what I'm getting at. I don't care what you're doing. Just don't bet in games that you're going to be in. It's as simple as that. Bet on yourself? No. You shouldn't even be allowed for that.
No.
It looks bad. It looks stupid. Makes the league look bush. And you know what? I'm glad we finally put our foot down and said, we're not a bush league. This is what's right. This is what's needed to be done. Honestly, if he applies next year and says, I want to be back in the CFL, I've learned my lesson, and Donald takes a gambling course, I don't know. Anyways, maybe look at bringing him back or allowing him back. Otherwise, honestly, this could be a Pete Rose situation. Right?
What are the odds on Shawn Lemon coming back next year?
I mean, if it was any other league, I would say 0, but this would be the one. This is the league that's been coined of second chances, right? So I could see maybe him coming back, because I'm with Adam. Like, again, you can't compare the 2. We could sit here and argue all day about Kelly's suspension. I'm not saying it was the right amount or not, but it's 2 different things. One is off the field integrity and one's on the field integrity. And I think any sport league, you need to have both, obviously, but I think for a sport, you need to have on-field integrity. Number 1. That's why every other league, baseball, your 3rd positive drug test, you're done. That's it. 3 positives, you're done. Second one is a year. First one's half a year. Like, they set that. I can sit here. I think Andrew Harris should have got more for PEDs. I think we are pretty light on PEDs up here. And to me, I put PEDs right there with gambling because it affects the on-field product, and you can't have that. And I agree with the Pete Rose thing. That's funny you bring that up, because that was my number 1 thought. I was like, up until this, you could argue he's a Hall of Famer. Now, because then it brings in the whole Pete Rose thing, just like you said. I know it's 2 different leagues. It's 2 different situations. Pete Rose did it for years compared to Shawn Lemon's 2 or 3 games or whatever he supposedly did. But, I think this is I feel bad for the guy because, he's been a name in this league, and just 1 little mistake or 2 little mistakes, and he might just be right out of the Hall of Fame now. And same thing, like, people question, should Harris be in the Hall of Fame because of a little mistake of a positive test? Same thing to me.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp. Should Chad Kelly have been welcomed back into the league? I'm in the camp saying no on that one. Should Shawn Lemon be welcomed back into the league? I'm also in the camp saying no on that one. But, I don't think for the different reasons that they were suspended, I don't think those suspensions should be lifted. I know there's been a lot of talk, well, they welcomed Kelly back, so you're really not going to welcome Shawn Lemon back. You can't compare those. Like you said, I think both were wrongdoings that shouldn't have them back in the league. But they at least got one of them right, is what I'm saying. That, just because they got one wrong doesn't mean you can excuse what Shawn Lemon did in terms of betting, because that does open up a whole can of worms of what's allowed for betting, what's not, when you're a player playing in this league.
I also wonder what's in the CBA, because I wonder if too, like, there've been such a crackdown on gambling, and it's such a major partner, like sponsorship partner. And I know it doesn't make it look great, but Did the CFL really lose much with the Chad Kelly situation? Unfortunately, yes or no. That's a whole other conversation too. But if too many players start gambling, it has been a topic to be brought up in Parliament about gambling on sports on both sides of the border, right, in America and Canada. And if players are doing it, then it's going to be like a lot more easy for the government to be like, maybe we shouldn't have legalized this.
Here's the thing that I see is Kelly's thing is you could lose fans, which costs you, let's say an average fan is probably about $1,000, $2,000, right? That's what it maybe would cost you in the marketing and the jersey purchases and the tickets and all that stuff. Maybe it's a bit more. I don't know what the exact number is, what a fan costs you. But if you go and look at what the betting could cost you, if you lose betting sponsors like FanDuel, or you lose whatever DraftKings, or you lose some of these other ones, that could be potentially millions of dollars that the CFL needs. No denying the CFL always needs money. So if you go and put your foot down, I'm Ryan's right. I think you put your foot down for both. But in this case here, you got to put your foot down to go and make sure that you're not going and compromising integrity of those gambling guys, and they just say, you know what, we're not touching this stuff. Because if they do, you're in trouble.
Oh, we're all agreeing. That's all I wanted to bring up. Thought the fans at home might want to know our opinion, but we all agreed, so it was kind of a boring segment.
No, I think it was a worthwhile discussion. But let's get into our final game to talk about. Let's move on back to Sunday here for the Prairie Rivalry.
Yeah, I'll be right back. You keep talking.
Oh boy, I have a feeling there are props coming in, and I think I know what it is, and we may see a reappearance of a certain Riders mascot, is what I'm guessing is about to be coming back. But yes, Winnipeg Blue Bombers visiting the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a battle for first place in the West Division, I guess. Yeah, whoever wins this one will be officially first in the West because BC
No, Ryan. The Riders are officially first in the West right now. It might be 1 point, but the Riders are officially first.
Now. But as of right now, you are correct. At the time this game ends, they very well could not be. Based on how this game goes. And Trey's got the banjo. I think you're a week early on that one.
Oh, it's never a week early for when the Riders are here, man.
We're not there. If you haven't realized, we're 6 hours.
You know what? I'm not really good at the banjo, just like the Roughriders in football. So I got to practice.
Or just like your quarterback, you're not very good with
you know what, man? I don't even care who plays quarterback. I could go play quarterback and beat the Riders.
I'm going to just mute myself for the next 20 minutes. Let me know when you guys are ready to move on.
Well, we decided before that this is going to be a debate. It's going to be a 1 minute debate for each, and then Ryan's going to choose who's going to actually win the banjo or the Labor Day Classic.
There's nothing to debate.
Let him go first. I want to hear this.
Man, you've heard me and Ryan for weeks. Best defense.
Get out of here.
Oh, yes.
Where's the mute button? Where's the mute button? You are not claiming that after you've said Swiss cheese defense.
Swiss cheese. Like, that's the best cheese, isn't it? Like, the best cheese, man. It's so good.
Cheese run through. You bet. Yeah. Am I going first here? Why the Riders are winning the Labor Day Classic?
Sure. Doesn't really matter what you have to say.
Are we going right into that? How do we want to structure this? We're going to get to our betting picks. We got to get through fantasy picks on this game as well. Do we have any opening storylines to talk about on this one that's most intriguing in terms of this matchup?
Well, it looks like Adam Big Hill will be playing this game. His head will be probably reinforced with concrete like it usually is when he goes head first into somebody. But nevertheless, that should add some intrigue to this game because I'm sure that, Shea Patterson might have a big foot when he's running past the sidelines.
And guess what? Now you got your 40-year-old Trevor Harris in there who's going to be broken in half by Big Hill, so it's fun.
I'm sure. Just like, what do you call it? You guys got your Swiss chalet quarterback in.
I don't even understand this. Like, what? I don't even understand that chirp, man.
Your quarterback is cooked.
Oh, we'll see, man. Like I said, man, your smack talk is ass, man. I didn't even understand. I was just getting hungry for chicken, man. Like I thought you were just trying to make me fatter. Like I thought that's all this was.
Well, I mean, could do like your quarterback and try to
Doesn't matter. You see, you're so hyped on, but that doesn't matter. They could just do Wildcat to Brady Oliveira for.
That's all they ever do is do Wildcat to Brady Oliveira.
And guess what? They'll win. They will win.
I'm sure they will, because what are they going to block? The Riders' run defense is probably the best in the league.
Just do the flying V with Chris Streveler in the front, man. Nobody's breaking through that, man. Put Willie Jefferson.
He hasn't made that. How many sacks has Willie got this year?
I don't care about defense. I'm saying put him in offensive line. Put Jefferson and Jake Thomas in on the offensive line. They both do blocking on field goals, I'm pretty sure. Jefferson for sure does. Just put him out there. Who cares?
That is one topic, the offensive line, the whole Chris Streveler of it, I do want to talk about, where Bombers' offensive line got absolutely, they struggled last week. Stanley Bryant, that was a scary situation. He went down on the field, he got up, went to the huddle, all of a sudden medical staff's coming out, and 10 minutes later, Stanley Bryant's leaving on a stretcher off to the hospital. That was scary watching that happen, because we really didn't know what was going to happen. He was released from hospital. He was all good. He's missed practice this week still due to illness, so, probably not playing this week.
I just thought he was playing.
No. Did you?
I thought I just saw that.
Stanley Bryant was out last time I looked at the injury report.
What did I just
Well, the official game status won't be in until Friday, but he has not practiced the last 2 games. So now at his point in his career, how much does he need to practice? But I don't know. I would not be surprised if we see Stanley Bryant not playing, unless you've seen reports otherwise.
Now I'm all confused. Did I dream that?
Maybe. That could have happened. Gabe Wallace, all offensive linemen went down last game, and they were to the point where I think they had some defensive linemen all of a sudden, swapping jerseys so they could play on the O-line. Heck, I said at one point, put Chris Streveler. Are you going to have to put Chris Streveler?
Here we go. Three down nation, Mike O'Shea, Stanley Bryant likely to play in Labor Day Classic following his health scare.
All right. So good boost for them there. But yeah, even against the Ticats defense last week, they were blitzing over and over, and Zach Collaros was having a whole ton of problems with the pressure on him. I do wonder if there is benefit, and it would be a crazy thing that a football team's not going to do, and actually starting Chris Streveler over Zach Collaros this week. As much as I'm not in the category of Chris Streveler being a starting quarterback, I think, with the amount of pressure the Riders are going to try to send after him, with the amount Zach Collaros struggled with the blitz this last week, with how the Riders struggle against mobile quarterbacks often, I kind of wonder if there is value in Streveler this week to kind of keep Zach Collaros healthy down the stretch.
Do you really need to keep Zach Collaros healthy? He hasn't done anything all year, right? I mean, his receivers, he has the lowest amount of touchdowns. Yep. He has the lowest amount of receptions in the whole league right now. He has, 12 picks to 6 touchdowns. What are you saving him for? You may as well play him if you're going to play him, if you think you can do anything. But really, right now, Winnipeg has not done anything on that offense.
For sure, yeah.
It don't matter if Chris Streveler, he'll get you a first down once in a while when he goes in there at 3rd and 2. Okay, great. But yeah, Ontario Wilson you brought in, he kind of is okay. Nick Dembski finally learned how to hold on to the ball, sort of. And otherwise, it's Brady Oliveira. The Riders are number one. Even Lawler, he had 1 catch the last game.
It was the catch that mattered, though. That's all that matters in the end.
1 catch. That's all I could say. And you know what? Honestly, that's 1 catch. I mean, where is the offense for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? If somebody finds it, either return it to Princess Auto Field or, take it to Saskatchewan. Maybe they might get some help with it. But the Riders right now are the number one, like I said, the run team. And Oliveira, the first game, did nothing against the Roughriders. So I don't like the chances of this for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now. I'll give them credit. Their pass defense been great. They do have a very good pass defense. But the Riders can run the ball right now with Frankie Hickson. Yes, AJ Alette's not there. Don't matter. Frankie Hickson's been well proven to be able to run the football. The Riders are getting healthier. They've finally got a few guys back in receivers. They've got Keon Schaefer-Baker there. They've got a few pieces back. The Riders are getting healthy at a better time. And the fact that you guys are all been pointing out that the Roughriders have lost the last 4 games in a row.
1-4-1.
Played the Montreal Alouettes twice, the league-leading Alouettes, I should say. Lost by 4 points and lost by 3 points? 4-3, I think it was. Lost the Argonauts by a rouge, which is, we won't get there. And then lost to BC by a few points. Edmonton, yeah, that was a blowout. Otherwise, the Roughriders could have been really quite a ways ahead if they would have maybe figured out how to pull something out of their something. Like I said, the Riders are not a bad team right now. It's a new month. Move on. And I think they're poised for a big game here on Sunday.
Yeah, and on the whole Zach Collaros thing, those stats don't lie, right? Like, the stats don't lie that he has struggled and he has been the worst starting quarterback in the CFL this season. I struggle so much with writing him off, though, for what we saw in that final drive against the Ticats this last week, where it was an awful game. They deserved to lose that game, and then they drove all the way down the field at the last minute and won it. Like, that thought is always going to be there in the back of the mind until the playoffs, when he doesn't put touchdowns on the board. I guess he doesn't right now either. But that is something we've seen him do a lot there on the offense. That is always in the back of my mind of, like, is Collaros going to get it together yet down the stretch? Maybe he will. Maybe he won't.
Don't get me wrong, Ryan. I mean, I get it that you want to say about that one, the good drive against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Ticats are still 2-9.
Oh, yeah, they're a terrible football team. So.
I mean, you got to expect them to blow it in the end. When the Winnipeg Blue Bombers play a team that they're going to compete against, the Alouettes, they got clobbered by. They played the Alouettes again, they got clobbered by them twice. They played the Calgary Stampeders, they got beat by them. They play them again. You know what? It hasn't been good for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers when they're playing a team of importance.
Oh, so not allowing a touchdown against the BC Lions, who arguably have one of the most talented offenses in the league, means nothing.
Fair, but
that's
what place are the BC Lions in? What place are the Alouettes in?
That's fine. And
I mean, if we want to talk about good football teams, Montreal's the only team we can talk about, right? Maybe Ottawa. Like you said, against any team of note, nobody's of note in the CFL this season.
Not really.
You for every negative thing, Adam, you want to say about the Blue Bombers, then all I can say is, guess what? Your team is only a tie better. So that doesn't say much about your team. Okay, I'll give you
a better team.
I'll give it to you. Good job. We're halfway through the season, and you're a point over us. Woo-hoo-hoo. Great. And
Still first in the league. Still first in the West, man. Still first in the West.
Cat in the chat here kept Montreal out of the end zone from the 1 yard line. I believe the Bombers did that to Roughriders 3 times in the West Finals before, so that means I don't care.
Oh, that was actually this last week, I think, against Toronto, right? That the Riders kept them out at the 1 yard line 3 separate times.
We've done it to the Riders. We did it to the Alouettes a couple times. We've done it to the Edmonton Elks.
We've done it too. It's not impressive anymore because when you have to give a yard at the goal line, I want to say.
It is when you do it week after week after week.
Yeah. So, okay.
All you guys do is let the guy with the Buffalo jacket on and hope that you guys get something.
That's some off-season content right here. You know what? Well, Ryan can be the quarterback. He'll hand the ball off to Mike. We'll take turns being offensive, defensive line, Adam, and we'll see who gets the 3rd and 1 stop the most. There we go.
That sounds like a very terrible idea.
Yeah, meet Adam's cornfields. There we go, right?
Oh my goodness, we're 1 point up in the league. Oh my goodness. Oh,
in the division, not in the league.
I know it. I know numbers don't add up great, man, in your head, but it's not that big of a week. Like we just talked about, Edmonton could pass you in a couple wins. You're not that far good.
Didn't we all talk about?
I would rather be.
Still counted, but beat us by 1 point. It's still counted on the thing for them for 2 points.
Sure. You know what? That's fine. You know what, man? If that one little tie, because that was gifted to you by BS reffing, gets you first place in the West, good on you, man. Good on you. So it's just another game for the Blue Bombers to come and whoop your guys in Mosaic. It's fine.
I'm sure you guys will.
Thank you. Clip it.
Yeah. I'm sure you will.
Clip it.
Talking a little bit more about the Riders side of this, though, like the losing streak lately, right? Like the 1-4-1, I think we talked about for them. Like, what is it that's really gone wrong for them? Because you look at, Shea Patterson, I thought played decently well when he was in. Trevor Harris has come back in, and a decent football there. They've got the talented receivers we're used to seeing. They've got the new guys, Dante Myers, Keyshawn Johnson have looked pretty good there as well. The defense has come up with, last week, 3 goal line stands. They've come up with their fair share of turnovers. They had a couple games in there, I know, with like Lanier being injured where it was bad, right, for them there. What is it? Is it just like weird mistake after another? I mean, you look at this week they lost on the Rouge. The week before they lost on Brett Waters, 4 missed field goals. Like, what is it, Adam, that they've struggled with lately?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just the extraordinary kind of weird things that the Riders are losing about right now. If it's Lowther not deciding to go and take a week off and not kick field goals for some reason, it sucks, but that's the way it was. You look last week, I mean, the last 19, 20 seconds, I think that was really coaching, to be honest. You've got to make sure that you train to get the ball back further, get the ball moving, or do something to not allow you to go and give up that single point at the end of the game, or at least make it so that you can at least have a chance to catch it, return it out of the end zone to get it back into overtime. That was a little bit of coaching mistakes, I think, in the end. I mean, they called it one weird timeout in the middle of nowhere. Like I said, I think Saskatchewan, you know what, and honestly right now what's going on is Corey Mace is coaching not to lose instead of coaching to win. And I think he'll get over it. It's not a big issue right now. I mean, yeah, you should have won a couple of these games, but I think the Riders are just one of those teams that kind of is in their own head right now. And they're trying to do everything they can to not lose a game instead of win a game.
Just sounds like a bunch of excuses. Maybe your team just is not good, Adam. Maybe that's all it is.
Yeah, sounds like the back there and beat Winnipeg.
Let me be serious for a minute. I'll be serious for a minute. Yes, you're right. The coaching, rookie head coach, right? He was coaching before, but not really ever head coach. That and undisciplined. It was a lot of times the Roughriders took dumb penalties, and I can tell you right now, 2 weeks against Winnipeg, dumb penalties on both sides are going to come out. We always do it. Hasn't there been years where penalties happen before the kickoff because players meet up at midfield and. If anyone wants to say Leafs and Canadians, Flames and Oilers, Elks and Stampeders, Ticats, Argos, no, I'm sorry. This is the number one rivalry in Canadian sports because we have nothing else to cheer for in Manitoba and Saskatchewan other than good harvest season. You know what I mean? Like, what else? The Jets aren't doing nothing for us, and who cares about the 5 CHL teams in Saskatchewan? That's all we got. So, this is it. This is all. There's people who know nothing about the CFL, but they'll come and watch these 2 games religiously, right? It's our annual Grey Cup. So my point is, there's going to be a lot of intensity on both sides. Big Hill might not hold up on a hit. We might see it on both sides, right? I'm not picking out Biggie and specifically. I don't think he's a dirty player by any means. There's going to be players on both sides who might hit the quarterback out in the sidelines. There might be players who just say, you know what? Heck with it. The team might pay for my fine under the table. Who knows? Because it's a rivalry game. It's a big game. Like I said, there's been years where both teams might not make the playoffs. There's years where one team's way ahead than the other. It doesn't matter. 2-0. And you know what? I think, though, we can throw, to some degree, it's important for the season series. I hate when we play earlier in the year. I hate it. I have no problem with 3 meetings, but the first one should always be this week. If I get I don't care if we play 3 times, but throw that third one near the end of the year or something, because there's no reason why these 2 teams should be facing off before this, because it kind of ruins it, because now it looks like Saskatchewan did this and that. Those games don't have the same intensity. This is it. I want to see what happens. Whoever takes the least stupid penalties, I think will win this game. And both teams do it. It's just who takes one less.
Yep. And I mean, you know what? If you haven't ever been to the Labor Day Classic or the Banjo Bowl, go to them. I mean, these are 2 games. If you're a CFL fan, these are the 2 games you want to go to. But good luck getting seats, to be honest with you. I went and looked at Ticketmaster here for Saskatchewan's game against Winnipeg and Labor Day on Sunday. There's very fair resale.
Oh, it's sold out already.
Oh, I know it's sold out, but there's very few resale seats, let alone anything else. I mean,
the Bombers sold out the game against the Ticats this last week. So, and Banjo Bowl's been sold out for a while. So, good luck getting tickets. But if you can, absolutely get there. When you were talking about, the schedule and the matchups, it just reminded me, remember when Hamilton and Toronto played 4 times in 5 weeks in the middle of the season 2 years ago? Like, what kind of garbage scheduling was that?
Nice timing. Anyways, I was just going to bring up real quick. I mean, you're getting the two most intense fan bases. They're going to go head-to-head. There's going to be guys thrown out of the stadium. We all know that always happens.
Keep it.
Please don't be one of those people. But nevertheless, you're going to get an intense game. You're going to get teams that absolutely hate each other. That Colorados hates the Riders just as much as the Riders hate Big Hill and all the other guys. There's going to be punches thrown. It's going to be chaos. It's the way this game always goes. In the end, you're right, though. It's usually the penalties that kill a team. I mean, I think last year, it was, or the year before, was when we took a guy off the bench and decided to go do something stupid, and we ended up taking a penalty that cost us enough yards to get a Bomber field goal. I mean,
who can forget the Banjo Bowl brawl from a couple of years ago with the helmets being torn off? Oh, it's good fun, but keep it fun. Keep it safe.
Harris should have been suspended, by the way.
I agree. Fantasy players to watch in this game. This should get interesting. Stay away from either quarterback, says Ryan, because best defense, passing defense in the CFL. I don't want Trevor Harris against that. And I don't want Zach Collaros against almost any defense in the CFL right now, frankly. So, don't love other quarterback option right now. Running back options, both of them intrigue me. Frankie Hickson has averaged 14 carries in his last 4 starts. He also has put up decent yardage on the ground. The Bombers have the worst run defense in the league, that I won't deny. And so there's some room to run there. The only pause I have with Hickson is they haven't, he's only got 1 rushing touchdown on the year, and he doesn't get a ton of passing work. So, even a 90-yard rushing game with nothing else is only 9 fantasy points. So I think he could be in for a big day, but I'm a little skeptical, so I don't know if I'm going that direction. On the Winnipeg side, Brady Oliveira, I think, continues to be a smash start. He's been a top 3 running back in 5 of his last 6 weeks. And continues to be such. I know the Riders have a good run defense, but for me, the most intriguing is the passing work that Oliveira gets. And I think especially with the O-line potentially banged up or not quite fully healthy, and all the pressure on Zach Collaros, I can just see a ton of those dump-off passes to Oliveira over and over happening again. And it's likely a guy I want to get in my lineup. Over under how many quarters until we hear Glenn Suter talking about Oliveira smacking his helmet because he's ramped up, as Trey was just doing there. We heard that over and over 2 games ago on the broadcast there. So I do think he is one of those guys that does get a little amped up for games, these rivalry games. So I like either running back there. I'll talk about some wide receivers in a little bit, I think, but I'll turn it over to you guys here first. Adam, I'll let you go first. Who you got in this game?
He's muted himself. Look at him.
Come on, get it out. You won't be laughing on Sunday, so it's laughed out. Get it out. Anyways, I've got Frankie Hickson because, I think right now the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defensive line has been like Swiss cheese. They haven't stopped a whole lot, and they certainly can't stop a running back, let alone a guy like Frankie Hickson. So, I'm going to go with Hickson. Will he get a touchdown? Yeah, I think he will, because I don't think the Bombers could stop him in the end zone also. So, I'll go with Frankie Hickson, and I'm going to go with the Riders defense because as far as I know, Zach Collaros is starting, and when Zach Collaros is starting, that means there's interceptions to be had, and as cooked as he looks, I think that means that Roland Milligan's going to have some fine eatings on Sunday.
What you got in this one, Trey?
Me, I just give me that headbang, and I'll be saying it for 3 hours on Sunday watching this game. Brady Oliveira is the only one I want in this one. Stay away from both quarterbacks, which makes me want to stay away from both receiving cores. I could see either defense, because this game could be wacky, where both teams could throw 5 picks each or fumbles and this or that. We're going to have to see that, but I'd stay away from that for now.
In terms of receivers in this game on the Winnipeg side, if we're going to go just strictly vibes, not off the stats, which I hardly do, Nick Dembski loves to play the Riders. I feel like if there's any Winnipeg receiver, it's really tempting. I didn't want to take him last week after the big game. He only had 9.5 points last week, a bit of a disappointment there, but he always seems to have his biggest games against the Riders, Nick Dembski does. So I could see that potentially being a play. Shout out to Ontario Wilson. I think he's been a little more than okay at him. He's been a top 10 wide receiver in 4 of the last 6 weeks, including a top 3 wide receiver in 3 of those. So 10 targets for him last week. Only thing is with Larback, with Dembski there, with Wilson there, Caleros, could he throw up to 300 yards? He did in a couple of games. Going to throw, a lot more than that? Probably not. So I don't know if there's a ton to go around, and he's not throwing a ton of touchdowns right now through the air. So I might stay away from the Bomber receivers in this one. I think Oliveira is my favorite Winnipeg play. I like what you said about the defenses there also, Trey. In terms of Riders receivers, probably not going with any against this Bombers passing defense, but I do think Dante Myers has looked impressive, 60-plus receiving yards in his 3 starts so far this year. And Sam Emelis has been very consistent so far this season in terms of his target share. He's got 5 of his 12 games, I think it is, or 5 of his – how many games have they played so far this year? 5 of his 10 games, he's had 10 or more targets. So a lot of the looks in Sam Emelis' direction so far this season. He's delivered some solid fantasy totals as a result. But it's the Bomber against Bombers defense, so I'm scared to go that direction after I got burned with Shamar Bridges last week. Betting picks on this game. So we obviously know what direction Trey is going to go on the spread. The line is at 2.5 in favor of the Riders. We obviously know what direction Adam is going to go. But give your guys his over-under picks and give me your... you know what? I'm kind of undecided in the middle, so we'll open up the debate here. Give me your 1-minute pitch of why your team will win, and I'll use that to make my decision. Who wants to go first?
Age before beauty, Adam. You can take it first.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You're the away team. I've got to be the gracious host. Go ahead.
Okay, that's some fine Southern hospitality. Ryan, why you should pick the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Well, it's for, one simple fact. They're on a hotter streak right now, right? 3 straight wins in a row, and they did have that one loss to Toronto by 2 points. But I think they're really coming together right now. And, we want to talk about the offensive line. They didn't have an offensive line last week, and they still managed to find a way to win. Whereas on the other side, the other team, they're not so hot lately, right? 1-4-1 in the last 6, and things aren't looking so good. Yeah, they're getting a little healthy, but I think they also, I think, you know what? It's been called New Mosaic has been Blue Bombers' best stadium to play in over the last couple of years since it opened too. So that's the way I'm looking. And you live in Winnipeg, so I think that's a clear choice.
And what are you taking on the over/under?
Take the under. I think traditionally this game's close. It's going to be a defensive game. It's going to be 22-20, right? Like, it's going to be that way.
All right, Adam, floor is up to you.
All right. Well, first things first, we don't have Zach Caleros, which is a huge advantage for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Honestly, he's worthless. The only thing that the offense of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have right now is their run game, and by the way, Saskatchewan's pretty darn good against it. You've got a raucous crowd in Mosaic Stadium. It's going to be full capacity. The Riders are pumped up. They're wanting to finally prove that that losing streak that they've been on. Yeah, it wasn't by much, and it was over little things. I think they're going to want to prove a point this week to go and take the West Division team and smack them around for a little bit. Traditionally, the Riders win Labor Day. We all know that. And most times, it's a fun game to watch, but in the end, it's usually the Green Machine that ends up going into IGF for whatever they call it now, Princess Auto Stadium, with one victory before they go into there. So, yeah, that's why I'm going with the Riders, and I'll go with the under 2. Both of these defenses are pretty good.
Can I just say one thing? I have shit on Zach Collaros for 3 years, and nobody has supported me. And now when it's convenient to Adam, now he does it. Just saying Zach Collaros enough made me almost want to switch the pick, but I can't.
You both made some compelling arguments. First of all, I'm going to agree on the under. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game as well, so give me the under on this one. You've both made some good arguments. I agree with a lot of the things that were said on either side, and you know what? I love Team Chaos, so neither of you really convinced me too much one direction or the other, so I will turn to the true betting expert on the podcast for the spread and ask Adam to flip that coin for me, please.
Yes, the Saskatchewan Roughrider coin is going to be the most unbiased thing we have all night. And the flip is the Saskatchewan Roughriders will beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
I don't think he even flipped it. I don't think he flipped it. I
didn't see the replay. It was flipped.
I will. I'll go with the coin on this one. I was leaning Riders because of Labor Day history a little bit coming into this one and the offensive line issues for the Bombers, as much as they've been on a bit of a turnaround lately. I think this is me a close game no matter what. So, yeah, I'll stick with the coin. Ride with the coin. It went 4-0 last week.
The coin goes where it's at. I'm just saying.
Whatever. I want to go now. It's bedtime. I don't want to talk to you guys no more.
All right. Well, it is time
to get the coin, Trey. Talk to the coin.
Well, it is time to get wrapping it up here, anyways. So enjoy Labor Day weekend. First of all, everybody, we'll have live game chats in the Discord, so check that out. Link in the episode description. Once again, join us over there. It should be a fun weekend of football. It always is. And enjoy the long weekend alongside it. Next week we'll be back again. Unclear at this point in time if we will have the weekly recap, because normally it's on a Monday, but Monday is a holiday, so I still have to talk to Mike to see if we can reschedule that, or we might just skip this week. So you know what? Find out in the Discord or on social media about that. Next week on Wednesday night, we'll be doing our Discord fantasy draft for the NFL season, because that kicks off next Thursday. So once again, if you want to join that, hop in the Discord, hop in the NFL channel, click the sign-up sheet. You have till end of day Friday this week, so not much time to get in there if you want to join us for that. That'll be fun next week. We'll try to get some content out around that. And then Thursday nights everywhere, every week going forward, we come back and do this the very same thing with a little less animosity, potentially, although next week is Banjo Bowl. So if you enjoyed the back and forth tonight, come back again next week, Thursday night, week 14 preview. We'll do the same things here on the podcast. In between, you can follow us on social media as well, on Twitter or X at CF Countdown Pod, Facebook.com/CF Countdown Pod there as well, to see everything we've got going on there. Check out all the other great shows from around the Canadian Football Podcast Network as well, at CF Pod Network on Twitter. Follow along with the Canadian Football Podcast Fantasy League as well, where Adam somehow pulled out a win with 59 points this week and remains tied at the top of the standings. You lucky butt. And also check out the Alternative Football Network at the official AFM. Again, thanks to the fellas and Mike G from the AFN for hosting Fantasy League that Trey and I are playing in. So we'll update you on that throughout the season as well. And check all of the other great shows involved in that network. You can find me on Twitter at CooperTrooper42 if you want. Not much going on there for me. You can find Mike there at Mike Garrell. And where can we find these two guys? We'll let Adam go first. Adam, where can people find what you got going on?
Yeah, you can find me at Farmer in Sask over on the Instagram, or go and check out Adam Stewart 1 on my X or Twitter, whatever they call it nowadays. Got lots of farming stuff around that. Probably a little bit of trash talking, just a little bit, not very much, but a little bit for Trey. Whatever you guys want to look at. I was hoping to hear a little bit more from the Rider Nation on why the Bombers are going to absolutely get smoked out in Mosaic Stadium. Apparently, they're very quiet about this game, which is strange. Rider fans aren't very quiet usually at the best of times. So, yeah, go over to Adams Store 1. Tell me why the Bombers are going to get hammered on Sunday. Besides in the crowd when they're watching their team.
I was going to say the Riders are going to get hammered after they lose and they go to the bar after to, get over their sorrows here. But, yeah.
It's a proud tradition that we all go to the, the old Brant Center afterwards and go drink it all in there. That's Rider Bomber tradition. Everybody goes there to have a drink, no matter how it goes.
All right. I guess you can find me at the X at Trey Harness link. There's too much stuff going on. Not much games on Sunday. I probably won't do not much trash talk until Sunday morning. Pretty busy the next few days, but we'll see. Look in the Discord. The Discord's been fun. I probably spent half a day when I should have been working yesterday making those TikToks. So that's kind of why I'm going to be busy tomorrow at work now, but that's okay.
Big question though, Trey. Are you going to go get another rotisserie chicken?
Actually, there's one from Co-op that's been pretty good. I might have to go for a little walk tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. It's good. Yeah. See, that's a good meal. Those rotisserie chickens, and then I just get those easy make potatoes in a package, and it's just, they're not the best, but I mean, it's better than boiling potatoes and making them, That's good enough. Pretty good meal.
Any form of potatoes.
But then I eat a whole rotisserie chicken and a box of potatoes, and then I just hate myself because I'm like, how did I eat that much? But that's a different podcast.
If anybody wants to bring me a rotisserie chicken out to the combine, I'm not going to say no.
I'll send it in the mail. Don't know if you want to eat that when it gets there. All right. Thanks to anybody who joined us live this evening. We had a couple folks in the chat joining us there, and hope you tune in going forward as well. Once again, thanks for all the support through 30,000 downloads, and here's to the next 10,000. Whatever podcast platform you are listening on, we appreciate if you help us continue to grow in that regard. Do all the fun things like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, drop a review on the App Store, share the show with your friends, help us grow the show. We always appreciate that. On behalf of Adam and Trey, I'm Ryan saying thank you for listening. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.